How would you describe failure? When Dave and I were in the initial stages of recovery from his porn addiction, we received some wise words. First, this does not have to be fatal. Second, fail well. At that point, failure was all we could see. We felt it, tasted it, and breathed it daily. Facing job, marriage, family, and reputation loss, life felt destroyed by the earthquake of this porn addiction revelation. Reeling from the aftershocks, we couldn't think straight. This does not have to be fatal brought hope to our relationship. But fail well didn't make any sense. How could anyone fail well? Dan Miller says there's no such thing as failure. There are only two options, learning and success. Do you see the mindset shift in this statement? Dan doesn't view failure as negative. Well, Thomas Edison applied this same mindset. His first life principle exemplifies this. Never get discouraged if you fail. Learn from it. Keep trying. When an assistant of Edison's expressed sympathy over the many failed attempts at creating a new type of storage battery, Edison purportedly responded with his now famous quote, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Edison went on to explain that he didn't allow himself to be discouraged under any circumstances. We sometimes learn a lot from our failures if we put into the effort the best thought and work we're capable of, Edison said. In my life, fear and failure are closely linked. The Bible mentions fear over 300 times, which means fear must be a fairly common human malady. One of my favorite verses is Isaiah 41:10. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Often when I feel fear wrapping around me, I hear this verse. If God, the creator of the universe, is continually with me, which is his promise, then why do I choose to fear? But I do this instinctively. What would life look like if we kicked fear to the side and adopted Edison's curiosity? Well, one, we'd resist the fear of failure. Be honest. How many times a day do you shrink from something because you fear failure? Look at your behavior over the last 24 hours. Where did you procrastinate? What conversation did you avoid? Who did you avoid, and why? All these can be signs you fear failure. Edison chose to view each failed attempt as a learning experience. But notice he made the attempt. He discovered what didn't work. And that understanding sparked additional creative juices to look at the experiment from a different angle. Isn't this the concept behind every scientific discovery? You may not be going for a scientific breakthrough, but what about one in your marriage? What are you avoiding that could be the light bulb moment for you and your husband? Or for your personal approach to your relationship? Remember, you can only control you. Number 2, create new possibilities. In Ryan Holiday's book, The Obstacle is the Way, he says, failure shows us the way by showing us what isn't the way. When I work with a client, we discuss how her past choices and behavior brought her to this point. So often, out of fear, we want to go back to normal, to what we know and feel comfortable doing or being. True healing involves looking at new possibilities. We must take what works from the past behaviors and refine that to create exciting new possibilities for our future. Your past describes you, but it doesn't define you or your future. One exercise I do with coaching clients involves describing her preferred future. Every time I do this exercise, I sensed new anticipation, exciting possibilities. I see her dreaming again and believing this desired future is possible. Well, the third is enhance your vision. Fear limits our sight and clouds our thinking, hopes, and dreams. Betrayal wounds you to your core. It makes it difficult to see a better tomorrow, almost like we got blinders on. And then fear slithers in to push your emotions down the rabbit hole to self-destruction. However, when we courageously open up to another person, like a coach, about these fears, the clouds lift. Suddenly, we see new opportunities. Our horizon expands. We believe there is hope, which opens our vision. When Dave and I heard this doesn't have to be fatal, I felt hope come alive. I began to see beyond the darkness I'd been in since Dave revealed the addiction. After hearing some new ways to start recovery, I saw options that were hidden. My vision began to return. Dave and I discovered that failing well meant living authentically. We decided to change our mindset, which influenced our thoughts and impacted our actions. This is how you fail well. Success comes in the minute decisions made daily. It is the choice to turn from destructive behavior toward authentic living. It is telling the truth in love instead of hiding and hoping to keep the peace. Honest conversations occur with the hope of restoring relationship. Authentic people love you enough to risk the relationship to help you see your blind spots. If you want to fail well, you'll discover the healing in the wound. Jesus tells us to follow him. In John 14, he says, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me." Jesus explains in this passage that he is with us, is preparing the way for us to live eternally with the Father in him, and will come back for us. In the meantime, we have the Holy Spirit who teaches us how to follow Jesus. We aren't told to live perfectly, but to follow well. That's how we succeed in life. We take our failures, bring them to Jesus, ask for and receive forgiveness, learn why that didn't work, and then follow his lead. He promises to always direct our steps. So what steps can you take to see beyond the failure? How can you take one step toward fear instead away from it? Find a way to be positive about your future and identify what's limiting your vision of hope. Jot yourself a note or schedule a reminder in your phone. However it works best, remind yourself, resist the fear of failure, look for exciting possibilities, and enhance your vision. Practice failing well. If you need help, hop on over to KirstenDSamuel.com and click the big blue button. Let's talk.